Welcome to ATPCo's Director's Vlog. Today we have with us Graham Wareham, Director of NDC Solutions and Partnerships. Graham has more than 20 years of experience in the airline industry, including more than 4 years with ATPCo. Welcome, Graham.
Thanks, Ryan.
So, tell us about your background and your experience.
Sure. So I started my aviation career in construction, which is kind of humorous, I think. But so when I got out of university, I started a small construction company, which didn't really go very well. So I got a job working for a simulation company, aviation simulation company, for a few years. I did my graduate studies at night, and then I eventually ended up at Air Canada. Had a number of positions at Air Canada, and which led me eventually to distribution. I did a lot of years, 7 to 8, 10 years as Senior Director of Distribution and Consumer Direct, and then ultimately made my way to ATPCo.
So, Graham, what are the unique challenges that airline distribution is facing today?
Well, I think as long as you say today is more than one day, the distribution environment's been changing probably since 2006. It's not moving at record pace, that's for sure. But you know, with the advent of even the internet, airline distribution started changing with websites, and then ultimately direct being APIs. Airlines started exploring new ways of retailing and new ways of looking at their product and how they interact with their customers. I think that transition to the airline distribution world is just continuous. But with NDC and the standards and all the work that's being done there, things have really changed, and the focus has shifted really from, I would say, product development to customer or consumer friendliness.
So, what do you see as ATPCo's role in airline distribution?
So we serve a couple of roles. I think traditionally ATPCo has been known as a fare and data company, supplying kind of all the underlying data required to do pricing. We've done a lot of derivatives of that over the years. We're a 50-year-old company. I think we've advanced automation of that data and automation of pricing and airline retailing, as it were. So I think our role has really been around adding or enriching the distribution environment with capabilities that help airlines do what they want to do.
You mentioned NDC. I've heard NDC content about the industry. Could you just tell us more about that?
Sure. NDC is a lot of things. It's kind of, it's become one of those things that has a million meanings. But NDC at its root is a standard for communicating. But what it enables is carriers to have a different relationship with their buyers. Whether those buyers are travel agencies or consumers, they have a richer, an ability to have a richer conversation, an ability to customize offers. So ATPCo's role in that is mainly around our product with NDC Exchange, which is really supports connectivity and enables carriers and sellers to get together in an easy fashion, as well as our Route Happy data, which enriches the messaging and really shows customers what it is you're buying, giving them the chance to differentiate their product and consumers to have more information about what they're buying.
So, Graham, you mentioned NDC connection. Are you referring to APIs? Are you referring to, data, test data? Is it real data? Maybe talk a little bit about that for me.
Yeah, sure. NDC itself is really just an API that conforms to the NDC standard. So it's just a way of making sure that airlines that are communicating, more sellers can integrate to them easier by all communicating in the same fashion.
Great. Sounds like a kind of like a little hub or something like that.
Well, the Exchange is a hub. We figure there's about 30 or 40 different versions of APIs out there. The Exchange actually normalizes everything. So no matter what you're talking in, you connect to the Exchange, and it enables you to connect to anybody. in a very easy, simple fashion. And that's what ATPCO brings to the party.
Wow. So before we wrap, I just heard this fun fact that, people who travel are 60% more creative. And I know you travel all the time. So we're all interested in knowing really, what do you do on the plane that keeps you creative or that maybe speaks to that stat?
When you're in the business environment, you're always on the go and you're always moving from room to room and you really have no time to stop and smell the roses, as it were. I think you're always dealing with, we have a very broad base of opportunities or problems. So you're moving from one problem to the next. What downtime on an airplane allows me to do personally is just disengage, think about things a little bit deeper than I would normally, and then, as I said, tap about it to emails, unfortunately. So.
Oh. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I definitely learned a lot. I hope you did too. Thanks, and visit us again.
Thanks.